So in the battle shonen demographic of manga and anime, along with the main protagonist of the story, you also have the Deuteragonist. There are many iconic Deuteragonists throughout the ages of the shonen manga, like Vegeta, Killua, Kaiba, Bakugo, and so much more. However, whenever you think of anime Deuteragonists, the one that would most likely come to mind is Sasuke from Naruto. So Sasuke is a character that many people in the Naruto community tend to dislike, whether it's due to the random decisions he makes throughout the story, or maybe some people just don't like his personality as compared to Naruto's or Kakashi's. Although I feel that the character journey that Sasuke has gone through, and the many layers of his character, and the fact that he serves as like a foil to Naruto throughout the story, has led me to believe why he's one of, if not the greatest, Deuteragonists in the battle shonen demographic, and I feel that he's very misunderstood in the community. So in order to talk about the many decisions Sasuke makes throughout the series, we first should start from his childhood. So when we are first introduced to Sasuke, he is the complete opposite of Naruto. Naruto was the more extroverted and hyperactive character, whereas Sasuke was introduced as more introverted and someone who always kept a cool head during the academy days. Although they were opposites, they were both similar as well, in terms of being loneliness and having a dream which they both strived for. But the dream that they both wanted to achieve came across them differently. In Naruto's case, he wanted to become Hokage, which was a dream he strove towards in the future. But Sasuke's dream was something he wanted to achieve because it was only rooted in his past. However, Sasuke's goal of revenge was never his initial goal as a ninja. His original goal was to join the Uchiha police force, which was an organization his father was a part of in order to maintain stability in the village. Joining the police force was his motivation to working hard as a ninja, and it was something he wanted to achieve in the future as he grew up. Just like with Naruto wanting to become Hokage later on in the future. So from the beginning, both Naruto and Sasuke were fixated on these goals that they wanted to achieve as they grew up. Even from a young age, Sasuke's hardworking attitude was quite similar to Naruto's, where they would spend hours and hours mastering their jutsu before they would drop. However, this changed after the Uchiha massacre. Because of what happened to the Uchiha clan, Sasuke's dream was drastically altered at a young age after finding out what Itachi did to the clan. All the love that he had for his older brother converted into complete hatred after seeing what he did, and the fact that he was not strong enough to stop Itachi's actions. Although Sasuke was still kept to his hard-working attitude, his whole demeanor was the opposite of how he was when he wanted to join the police force. Now he feels that it's his new purpose in life to kill Itachi and avenge his clan, because he feels that no one else deserves to avenge his clan other than him. So when Sasuke joins Team 7, he feels that Naruto and Sakura are just holding him back from his goal, so he tries to take the belt from Kakashi himself, because failure is no longer an option when achieving his new goal. But after Kakashi's lecture about the importance of teamwork, we start to see more of Sasuke's character. On the surface, he may be seen as someone who's only looking towards revenge, like a one-dimensional character, but we actually see that there's more to him when he decides to feed Naruto. This was very important, not just for Naruto's reason for wanting to bring Sasuke back to the village later on, but it also shows that Sasuke is someone who is willing to put his comrades ahead of the mission, which also reminded Kakashi about his father and Obito as well, who they were the ones that taught him about how ninja who abandon their friends are worse than scum. So Sasuke was the main reason why they passed the bell test, because Sasuke was still someone who loved his village and someone who puts comrades ahead of the mission. This was also evident during the Land of Waves arc, when he steps in front of Haku's attacks to protect Naruto. Naruto asks him why he would protect him, but Sasuke himself doesn't really give him an answer, his body just moved on its own. And this shows the growth in the bonds between the two of them since being on the same team, racing each other to reach the top of the tree from the tree climbing exercise, and Sasuke starts to see him as a brother who he will die protecting instinctively. So even though Sasuke's goal was to avenge his clan, he was still willing to put his hatred and his goals aside to protect his comrades, which shows the type of shinobi he is. We even see more Sasuke's compassion to his teammates during the Chunin exams at the very beginning. After being recommended to participate in the exams, Sakura starts to feel anxious and feels that she doesn't add any value to her team, and she starts feeling down about it. But Sasuke was the only one who noticed something was wrong with Sakura, and he tries to help her regain her confidence back during the entrance exam. He reassures her that she is the most analytical member of the team, and the one who is best at countering genjutsu, and this helps Sakura get over her lack of confidence and her overwhelming anxiety for the Chunin exams. So throughout early Naruto, we see Sasuke as someone who, although his goal revolves around killing Itachi, he is shown to have compassion to his teammates, and even starts to see them as family, to the point where he would use himself as a body shield to protect Naruto from Haku. Or even in the fight in the Forest of Death against Team Tosu, when Sasuke broke Zaku's arm after finding out he hurt Sakura. Or also in the fight against Gaara when he put his life on the line to save Naruto and Sakura, because he viewed that Team 7 was the only family he had left. He even starts to acknowledge Naruto more and more throughout the exams, to the point where he placed Naruto as one of the people he wanted to fight against. This attitude was completely different from when they first started as a team, where he was always belittling him, thinking he was a burden on the team, but now he sees him as someone who is at least his equal. Although Sasuke has been shown to care deeply about his team and the new bonds he formed, it remains short-lived and it starts to change. After encountering Orochimaru in the Forest of Death, he starts to become afraid of what's in front of him, to the point where he would give away the scroll if it meant him and his team would be spared, which is unlike him because he is normally the more level-headed member of the team. The encounter with Orochimaru reminds him of how he acted in front of Itachi when he stood still and could not do anything to stop him. However, Sakura's words are what made him snap out of his trauma of always running away from those way stronger than him, and because of this he proceeds to fight Orochimaru in a solo fight. It was this fight that makes Sasuke not to forget what his goal was, and that his goal is to kill Itachi. If he's too scared to face Orochimaru, how can he face Itachi? Because of his resolve to face him, he is rewarded with the Curse Mark, which is a jutsu that grants the bearer much more power but at a high risk. And this boost in power that Sasuke gains from the Curse Mark really shows his original purpose, and that it is to avenge his whole clan. Even if it means using the power from evil, he feels that he's justified if it meant that he can use that power to kill Itachi, because at the time he only viewed Itachi as the most evil and most despicable person. His fight against Gaara is when this hatred and the goal for vengeance starts to become questioned. Gaara is similar to Sasuke in that they both know what it's like to feel loneliness, like with Naruto. But what Gaara and Sasuke had exclusively in common was that they are both characters who were determined to fulfill their purpose due to their hatred. Having a purpose is what gives life meaning, and Gaara and Sasuke will do anything to try to reach those goals, even if it means taking power from evil. During the fight, we learn more about Gaara's backstory and his reason for living, which is to kill anyone because the only person that he loves is himself. After gaining the upper hand in the fight, he starts shouting at Sasuke, saying that his hatred is not strong enough, and that this is why Sasuke is losing the fight, which ties back to Itachi's exact words during the massacre. Hearing those same words I heard from Itachi starts to make him more angry, and then he relies on the Curse Mark to do the Chidori, despite him only being able to perform the jutsu twice a day. But despite the boost in power, he still loses to Gaara, showing that his hate simply isn't as strong enough as Gaara's. But then Naruto comes in and defeats Gaara, not because of Naruto's hate, or because that his hate was stronger than him, it's because that Naruto values his friends over fighting for himself. So the one time Sasuke faces an opponent where his hatred is questioned and clashes with someone similar to him, he loses the fight, but that same opponent loses to Naruto, who always used to be beneath Sasuke in terms of strength. This same incident happens in the next arc, when Itachi meets Sasuke again after about 4 years since the Uchiha massacre. Itachi is Sasuke's goal and his reason for living, and the subject of his vengeance, so killing him will not only avenge his clan, but will also fulfill his purpose, since Sasuke feels that he was spared that day in order to kill Itachi. However, when Sasuke goes against Itachi, he fails. He failed to stop him all those years back, and he failed to kill him now, and Itachi then repeats those same words that he said to him back then, that his hate is not strong enough, and that these were also the same words that Gaara said to him in the previous arc, which was also the reason why Sasuke lost. So Sasuke lost to both Itachi and Gaara because he felt that his hate was not strong enough, and just like last time, Naruto was favoured over Sasuke. Itachi says Naruto was the target of the Akatsuki because of his 9 tails. Although at this point in the series, Sasuke did not know about Naruto having the 9 tails inside of him, so because of this, his inferiority complex starts to grow because he feels that Naruto is always constantly ahead of him, while he feels that he hasn't grown as much. He feels as though he has wasted all those years trying to kill Itachi, all that training has just been wasted, just completely powerless against him, and he feels that he has just been tossed away to the side in favour of Naruto, who the Akatsuki are after. And it makes sense why as soon as Sasuke woke up, he was in a very angry state and wanted to test himself against Naruto, because Naruto was the one who saved him from Gaara, and he was the one that Itachi was after. But then again, after seeing what the Chidori did, compared to what the Rasengan did to the water tanks on the rooftop, it confirms to Sasuke that Sasuke really has surpassed him, and he has stronger jutsu than him, and Sasuke feels that he has made little progress as compared to Naruto's. And after his talk with Kakashi, Sasuke is reminded about how friends can fill the void of hatred, and that maybe there is more to life than just going after Itachi. Sasuke might have even considered letting go of his hatred here and there, but then the Sound 4 come in and remind him about his purpose in life, and that he should never forget his purpose. So this was a constant battle going on in Sasuke's head. Should he let go of his hatred and keep the bonds with his new family, or should he sever them in order to fulfill his purpose? After seeing how much power the Curse Mark could bring to the Sound 4, after fighting them for a short while, his dramatic defeat against Itachi, and how much more power he could gain from Orochimaru by evolving his Curse Mark state, he willingly decides to remain on this path of revenge, because that is his purpose. Before departing the village, he is confronted by Sakura, and tells her to stay behind, not to get involved with his path of revenge, because deep down he still cares for Sakura, and this is why he thanked her before knocking her conscious and leaving the village. During the final valley fight with Naruto, he is pleased with the power he has gained from the Curse Mark, and starts to value power over the bonds he formed with Team 7, which is the exact opposite of what Naruto values. So these opposing beliefs are what makes the rivalry so intense, and why they had one of the most iconic fights in the series. But during the fight, anything Naruto said to him does not get through to him, because Naruto does not understand Sasuke's pain of losing those close to him, because Naruto never experienced this, which is what gave Sasuke more of a reason to win this fight in order to reach Orochimaru. This is because that at this point in time, Naruto's goal to be Hokage was still quite surface level, because he had not learned to experience loss or what type of Hokage he wanted to be, whereas with Sasuke, he knew what his purpose was, and he knows exactly how he feels he should reach his goal. After that clash, Sasuke wins the fight, but refuses to kill Naruto despite Itachi telling him to kill his closest friend, in order to achieve the Mangekyo Sharingan. In Sasuke's eyes, he still views Itachi as the lowest of the low and does not want to stoop down to his level of killing his comrades in order to gain greater strength. So despite beating Naruto and wanting to sever ties with the Leaf, he still couldn't bring himself to kill his closest friend because Sasuke still sees Team 7 as his new family and he does not want what happened to his clan happen again to Team 7. During Sasuke's training with Orochimaru during the 2-year time skip, Orochimaru scolds him for not killing any of the shinobi he was training against, showing that Sasuke still has not given himself over to hatred and darkness fully. Orochimaru tells him that he will not beat Itachi if he still has mercy, because it was that same mercy he gave to Naruto, which is what prevented him from gaining the Mangekyo Sharingan. But Itachi was the only one who will not receive mercy, since it is Sasuke's purpose as an Avenger to only kill Itachi. So he still has redeeming qualities, even though he is literally training with one of the biggest criminals in the shinobi world. When Naruto asks him why he didn't kill him that day, Sasuke responds by only saying that he spared his life on the whim, and this is obviously a lie, since his real reason was because Naruto was his closest friend. So he tries to put on an act to stop Naruto and Sakura from going after him and interfering with his revenge, which is an example of the different layers to his character. His actions speak louder than words, and that's why Naruto didn't believe him when he said he only spared his life on the whim. When Sasuke attacks Orochimaru, he turns against him because since he surpassed him, why should he give his body over to the weaker shinobi? Sasuke never intended to give his body over. So even though Orochimaru was using Sasuke by training him to eventually be used as his vessel, Sasuke was the one using Orochimaru all this time. He wanted to kill Orochimaru not only because he wanted his body, but more importantly, he reminded Sasuke about Itachi. Sasuke thought Orochimaru was similar to Itachi because he viewed them as two evil beings who would kill innocent people to gain greater strength. So this is what made Sasuke start to hate him as a result of this. And that's why he shows him no mercy despite only being ruthless against Itachi, because he reminds me of Itachi and instead tries to absorb Orochimaru as a result. He then forms a team to go after Itachi, and notice how his team is similar to Team 7, a 4-man squad composed of 3 males and 1 female, just like his old team, Team 7. Sasuke still wanted to be a part of a team on his path of revenge due to his pain from being lonely ever since the Uchiha incident and the cherished memories that he gained from being part of Team 7. And we even start to see him show compassion to his new team during the fight against Killer Bee, when he slices off one of Bee's tentacles to save Karin. He then names the team Heavy, which translates to Snake, showing his association with Orochimaru because he absorbed him into his body. Sasuke finding out the truth about Itachi is one of the biggest and most impactful moments in the entire series, and for good reason. Because of this, you learn more about Itachi as a character and his values as a shinobi, and you also start to see the start of Sasuke's descent into darkness and hatred, which lasts until the end of the story. The person that Sasuke viewed as the pure evil and the most despicable person turned out to actually be a good person all along, who was used by the Leaf Elders to slaughter the entire clan. This whole revelation turns Sasuke's views upside down to the point where he literally starts having a panic attack. The village that he grew up in, the village he served as a shinobi, turned out to be the one that caused his whole clan to be slaughtered. So all the hate that Sasuke had for Itachi was then diverted straight towards the village, which is why it makes sense why he decided to destroy the village. He not only hates the village for discriminating against the Uchiha after the Nine-Tails incident, he also hates the village for putting his brother through all of that pain of killing his own clan and making him the full target of Sasuke's hate. This was why he refused to protect the village as per Itachi's will, because the village has so much corruption, so much manipulation in there that Sasuke simply cannot carry on his will. He then changes the name of his team from Hebi to Taka, and Taka translates to Hawk, showing a new phase of Sasuke's life and his new purpose that he wants to fulfill. It is only after learning the truth that Sasuke finally awakens his Mangekyo Sharingan, because all of the love that he had for Itachi before the massacre starts to come back to him, and his love only grows further because he then learns about what Itachi went through. Although he said he would kill the Leaf Elders, he also wanted to kill all the other villagers, including all the innocent civilians in there. This was because his hate has gone so out of control that he would even want to kill innocent civilians who were blind to the truth. In the 5 Kage-Same arc, this was the arc where Sasuke felt more like the protagonist for a short amount of time. He even got more screen time than Naruto did during this arc, and this is also the arc where we get to see how far he's fallen from how he started in the beginning of the series. This arc that we get to see him develop more into the main antagonist of the series. He infiltrates the summit to go after Danzo because of what he did to Itachi when he pushed him into slaughtering his entire clan. So just like how Sasuke viewed Itachi as pure evil in the beginning of the series, he now views Danzo as pure evil and someone who is even worse than how he originally viewed Itachi. And it's this mindset that turns Sasuke even more cold-hearted and very ruthless, to the point where he starts to kill the samurai who were pursuing him. Back when Sasuke was trying to take down Itachi, he sought to only be ruthless against Itachi and no one else during his training. But because of the new information he was given, and his whole view of the shinobi world changed, he no longer stood by his code, and now he only cares about taking down Danzo. And he even got to the point where he even starts to care less about his new comrades that he formed at his team Taka. He orders Karin to pinpoint Danzo's location and starts to treat her like a tool even. And this was how shinobi of the past used to treat each other like tools. And even when Sasuke was asked about the whereabouts of Jugo and Suigetsu, He doesn't even bother to check if they're alive. He doesn't even care. He only cared about Danzo at this point. And even during the Danzo fight, in order to kill Danzo, he drives his Chidori through Karin's heart in order to reach Danzo's vital points, and even saw Karin as a tool that is both disposable and something that just could be replaced by Sakura, because Sakura was a healer, so then Sasuke wanted to replace her as the new healer of the team. So at this point in the story, Sasuke no longer values the importance of teamwork and camaraderie that he showed in the beginning of the series, ever since the belt test. His hatred is confronted again by Raikage and Gaara. So the Raikage, just like Sasuke, was also acting on hatred alone and was not thinking rationally, which made the fight quite interesting, showing how much hatred and vengeance was consuming them. But the fight was stopped by Gaara, a character who used to only live by hatred and solitude, but has since grown past that, and then tries to bring Sasuke out of the same darkness he was in, but he was unsuccessful. Sasuke severed all his bonds with the village and found out that his brother was forced to kill his entire clan and to be viewed as an international criminal for the sake of the village. And this is why he said to Gaara, "What is there for me on the other side?" But he does not realize how far Naruto and Sakura are willing to go save him. And this conversation between the two of them parallels the conversation that they once had during the Twin Exams arc, when Gaara was the one consumed by hate and facing off against Sasuke, who at the time valued bonds over vengeance. But now it's flipped. Against Danzo, he asked him if it was true that he made Itachi slaughter the clan. This may be Sasuke still finding it hard to accept the truth from Obito, because he was not fully trusting in him at the time. Although he remembered the time when Itachi was crying, he probably knew it was true all along, but he still found it very hard to accept. He may have only started going on a rampage because his vengeance did not go away, which is what Sakura and Kakashi warned him about back then. Once Danzo confirms it to be true, Sasuke's hate grows even more, because he now accepts the truth as reality. And again, we start to see more of his madness when he is confronted by both Kakashi and Sakura. His mindset has been warped so badly from all the hatred consuming him that he starts to laugh like a crazy person and starts saying that he is itching to kill Kakashi because killing is the only thing on his mind right now. And even when he was confronted by Naruto, he still wants to kill Naruto, someone he viewed as a precious comrade when they were younger, someone that he sees as his precious comrade and his closest friend. He no longer sees the light and has become the very representation of the hatred that the shinobi world has been cursed with for generations. The 4th grade ninja war arc is where Sasuke finally decides on what his final goal is, as he learns more information about the world and decides how he can bring peace. This happens after his fight alongside Itachi against Kabuto, because Kabuto, like Sasuke, was someone who was manipulated by the village and never realized how corrupt the village was until they learned the truth about it. However, even though Itachi was used by the village and was branded a criminal, he still remained loyal to the village despite the large amount of darkness that was lurking in the village. He finally sees the whole truth in person from Itachi's Genjutsu and fully accepts the truth. Hearing Itachi's final words, being that he will always love him, makes Sasuke realize how much Itachi really did care for him, and that he was never the pure evil villain that Sasuke saw him as from the beginning. He then starts to question everything about the world, like what is a ninja, what is a village, and he even starts to ask what he is. What is his purpose now? Why would Itachi stay loyal to a village over his own clan that used him to commit massacre in order to protect the village? Learning more about the village's history from Hashirama makes Sasuke realize what a village is and why it is so important that people would sacrifice themselves over it. And this leads to Sasuke's goal to wanting to become Hokage, which is the exact goal that Naruto was aiming to achieve. However, their reasons for becoming Hokage contrast with each other massively. Sasuke's decision to become Hokage was something that has been building up during his journey. His hate led him to wanting to kill Itachi, but then it led to Danzo, and then to the Leaf Elders, and then eventually the entire village. His hate then grew towards the entire shinobi world after learning about the Warring States period from Hashirama's childhood. He feels that the root of the problem is the entire world and the contradictions and the corruptions that happened in the villages. He thinks that the only way to erase all the hate in the world is to become the Hokage that will execute all the current Kage and then take on all the hate himself. He aims to stand atop of the world with his new powers and shoulder all the hate from all those below him. He feels that the past would be erased for a better future because it was his past that was what led him on the path of vengeance in the first place. The past wars in the history of the world are what led to the current state of the world, and therefore has severed all ties with everyone and has no family left, so he thinks he should be the one to do it. Because he learned the truth about Itachi and seeing how he shouldered all the hate for the sake of maintaining peace in the Leaf village, he seemed more of a true Hokage in Sasuke's eyes than even the current Kage. So he wants to become a Kage by taking on all the hate just like his brother did. And this is the complete opposite of the kind of Hokage that Naruto wants to be. Naruto believes that the past is just as important as the future because it was the connections and friendships that he has formed in his past that he is able to gain power and get to where he is now. The rivalry that started from the beginning has now built up to a race to see who gets to become Hokage. Sasuke, who started out as just a Deuteragonist, has now also become the final villain of the entire series and Naruto's final obstacle towards achieving his dream. Sasuke also saw Naruto as his final obstacle to his dream, because if he erases his closest friend, he will finally be able to stand on top of the world and take on all the hate and solitude. Both of their dreams were also influenced by Itachi's words and actions. Sasuke believes that a true Hokage is one who shoulders all the hate, but Naruto believes a true Hokage is one who becomes acknowledged by all, which is what he learned from Itachi. But what Sasuke didn't realize is that although Itachi did take on all the hate himself, Itachi still regretted this and wished he could have changed things by not doing everything himself. This was why Itachi asked Naruto for help in bringing back Sasuke instead of trying to do it himself, because working alone and doing everything yourself will not always end well. Cooperation is more important. Even during their fight, their fighting styles were very opposing. With Sasuke, he absorbed all the power of the tailed beast into himself, showing that he is only fighting for himself and shouldering all this excessive power. But Naruto is working together with Kurama and all the other tailed beasts to face Sasuke. They then have a final clash and are both unable to move. Chapter 698 is the chapter where we really see Sasuke bring out his feelings and what Naruto meant to him. It turns out that Sasuke always felt inferior to Naruto and that he reminded him of Itachi. Seeing Naruto suffer from hate also made him feel pain too, because they both understood the weight of loneliness, and that is why Sasuke was always so determined to get stronger and get his revenge, and this is why his inferiority complex started to spiral out of control to the point where he wanted to join Orochimaru to gain even more power. He finally realizes how important he was in Naruto's life after trying so hard to cast him out of his own life that he finally wakes up from the darkness and admits defeat. He now realizes that cooperation and love is what can overcome hatred and break the cycle, and these were attributes that Sasuke originally showed in the beginning, but because he learned more about the darkness of the ninja world, he lost his way of thinking, and it was Naruto that brought him back out of the darkness. At the end of the series, Sasuke goes on a journey of atonement for his sins and even promises Sakura that he will come back, and this parallels his goodbye to Sakura during part 1 when he left the village. But now, he realizes how important Team 7 really meant to him, and he knows that he has a home to return to unlike before. And later on, even during the Boruto era, he is now protecting the Leaf Village from the shadows, and this is similar to how Itachi protected the village, by protecting the village from the shadows. And even though there are people that have not forgiven him for what he did in the past, he is still working together with Naruto and the other 5 Kage to protect the shinobi world instead of doing it all alone. He now has a family and has formed new connections with people like Sarada, he stood in Boruto, and has even reformed connections with Team Taka, who he treated as tools during the 5 Kage Summit arc. So Sasuke's entire character journey has been about vengeance, hatred, acceptance, and finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Starting out as someone with a bright future who wanted to join the police force, which was a positive goal, it developed into a path of revenge, darkness, and solitude where it looked like there was no return for him. Starting out as the Deuteragonist of the series, and then slowly developing his way up to becoming the final antagonist, for Naruto the main protagonist, due to him constantly learning new information about the village and the manipulation and lies that went on in the Leaf Village. Learning more about the darkness within the shinobi world is why Sasuke constantly kept changing decisions throughout the story, and what finally led to him wanting to become a Hokage, which is the exact goal that Naruto wanted. And it's because of this insane character arc that Sasuke has been through, all the way from the beginning of the series, from part 1 all the way up to the end of Shippuden, has led me to believe why he's the greatest Deuteragonist in Shonen.